Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's layout was created for the Around the World in 8 Weeks challenge over at Mystical Scrapbooks. This week we're in China and the inspiration for the week is food. It can be a food photo, food embellishments, or in my case a layout about a picnic, which of course includes food. The technique this week is embossing and the optional kit item is bling. You'll find a link to the competition in the description box below. I've gathered up an assortment of supplies here and I'm going to basically use these Cocoa Vanilla Daydream papers. I think they're lovely and they will go really well with my picnic theme. To start, I'm going to use my trimmer to cut the centre out of this piece of yellow cardstock. It's a sort of a dull yellow colour. Creamy colour I suppose you'd say, and I'm going to just leave it so that there's a 1-inch frame. So I cut from 1 inch down to 11 inch and then rotate my paper and do the same, do that 4 times. The background of my layout is going to be this piece of white cardstock and I've cut that down to 11.5 inches square, and now I'm using my Versacolour black ink cube to ink around the edge of it. I like to ink around the edge of my papers because I think it makes each layer stand out from the one below it. The technique for this week is embossing, so I'm going to use this Paper Mill pigment ink in gold and this Dilution stamp, and I'm going to use the one that looks like half a flower, and I'm hoping that it's going to look a bit like a sun. So I'm going to stamp it with the gold stamp pad, and then I'm going to heat emboss it using clear embossing powder. I'm just going to do this on 3 areas on the right hand side of my layout. Once I've got that embossing powder on there, I use my heat gun to set it. I use double-sided tape to attach my white cardstock to my yellow frame, trying to make sure that I get it nice and central on the frame. I'm going to use this Cocoa Vanilla Daydream Stepping Stones paper to be the whole left side of my layout. So I'm just going to tear that down at probably about 5.5 inches. I didn't measure it, so it's about a bit less than half the width, and cut the branding strip off of that and then attach that to the left hand side of my layout. There was a bit too much white showing for my liking, so I trimmed that down a bit, just tearing again, and I did of course ink around the edge of it before I attached it to the background. I also trimmed it down so that it was 11.5 inches long. Time now for my photo. This is a photo that was taken of my family when I was about 7 or 8 years old. That's me on the far left. We had a picnic at the beach one day. I matted this photo on some sort of glittery paper so that it looked like the sand. There wasn't enough definition between the photo and the glittery paper, so I put a very fine black mat between the two. So the black mat is about 1/8 of an inch all around the photo, and the glitter paper, which is actually from Doodlebug Designs, and I've had that for so long I don't think you'd even still be able to buy it, that is actually 1/4 of an inch all the way around the photo. Once I've got the photo matted on both of the pieces of cardstock, I use my black ink pad and ink around the outside edge of the glitter paper. I then used my art glitter glue to attach some chipboard scraps to the back of my photo and then attach the photo to the layout. Time now to start embellishing my layout. I have fussy cut a whole heap of flowers from the Cocoa Vanilla Daydream Garden Variety pattern paper. I've inked around the edge of it and now I'm just playing around with placement. There was also some chipboard in the optional kit that you can buy from Mystical Scrapbooks for this competition, and it was in the shape of railway tracks, and I couldn't see that I was going to use that at all, so I've cut it up into just filler bits. So yeah, I've just cut it up and I'm just going to use it in various places around my photograph. I also had the sticker sheet that goes with this paper range, and I've used a few embellishments off of that. I've put a bit of chipboard behind the big rainbow that goes down on the bottom section of the photo on the right there. I've also added a bracket, some hearts and some words, so just to add a bit more interest to the layout. Now the item that was actually supposed to be used from the optional kit was bling, so I'm going to use some clear bling from the kit to put in the centres of my flowers. Even though they're self-adhesive, I always like to just add a little dot of glue, helps them stay in place a bit better. I used my scan and cut and the piece of cardstock that I cut out of the middle of the background frame to cut the title, and the title is Beach Picnic, and the font I used for this is Hobo Standard. I inked around the edge of each letter, or all around the inside and the outside actually, and then I used my T-ruler and my glue to attach the title to the layout. The T-ruler of course helps me get it straight, or as straight as I possibly can. Even with the T-ruler sometimes it doesn't work out straight, but well, that's the best you can do. I wanted to add a bit of glitter to my title, so I'm using my Uniquely Creative clear glimmer pen just to give it a coat. And that finishes off my layout for today. I hope you'll pop over to Mystical Scrapbooks and check the competition out. There will be a link below, as I said before. And thank you for being here with me today, and I hope you will subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I hope to see you when I post my next video. Thank you for being here.